Hello and welcome to Apple Autos. My name is Austin. I'm going to be your host today, and today we are taking a peek at this beautiful 2023 Chevrolet Corvette C8 hardtop convertible that we just took in on trade. We currently have this vehicle for sale for $99,980. So if you guys are interested in purchasing the Corvette used in today's video, please be sure to check out the link down in the description below. 2020, the Chevy Corvette C8 was introduced, and it shocked the world. They finally did it. Chevy finally managed to put the engine in the back of the Corvette. That was Zora's dream, the creator of the Corvette. It was always his dream to have a mid-engine Corvette. There was multiple test units earlier on, and it never just came to be. However, in the C8, they finally did it. What the Corvette engineers said when the C7 came out is that the C7 Corvette was the greatest front engine vehicle they could possibly make. It was to the points in pushing the limits of a front engine vehicle with the weight distribution and overall performance that you can do when you're putting a V8 or a pushrod V8 in the front of the vehicle. They reached the maximum capabilities that they felt that were imaginable with the front engine vehicle. So they finally pulled the trigger and they put the engine in the back of the Corvette. Now, the C8 Corvette was the first Corvette to ever not feature a manual transmission. It only comes with the dual clutch transmission, but I believe for so many reasons, this is the greatest Corvette that has ever been built across all of the generations. I've had the experience to drive every single one of them except for the C1 and the C2, but I've had the opportunity to be behind the wheel of all types of Corvettes, lots of time behind the wheel. They're amazing, amazing vehicles, but nothing has come close to quite topping the performance that you get for the price value and the overall driving experience that you get behind the wheel of the C8 Corvette. And today I'm going to go over why. Another thing that is kind of cool about the C8 Corvette, this is the first Corvette to ever be offered in a hardtop convertible. All of the other previous generations of the Corvette have been offered with a soft top, so it is very cool that we finally get to see this amazing hardtop convertible, and it adds so much to the presence of the vehicle, and it adds a lot to the overall driving experience when the top is up because it acts just like a hardtop coupe in the sense where you don't have any wind noise that's blowing against that soft top or anything like that. So it is really cool that we finally got that hardtop configuration of the Corvette, and it also adds a lot of presence to the vehicle and just makes it look, well, a lot more high-end than a soft top does. Now, what I was going to say is, so I've been behind the wheel of all the generations of Corvettes, and none of them at all give you the feeling that the C8 does, the way that it feels so unbelievably driver oriented, the way that it feels like it wants you behind the wheel of the car. It feels like you are meant to be there. Now the C7 started to do this, but the C8 has brought it up to a whole nother level. And C8 passengers actually tend to complain. I've seen it on multiple occasions. I even complained being in there myself because it is so unbelievably driver oriented. It feels like the passenger was an afterthought. The dash curves towards you, the buttons wrap around you, the way that the overall square steering wheel feels in your hand, the legroom that you have under that, and the way that you have the visibility over the front end of the C8 is better than any generation of Corvette, period. You are closer to the front axle than in any other generation of the Corvette. You are closer to the road. You basically have, what, 2.5 feet between the steering wheel and the front wheels, which gives it a whole type of different feel as well when it comes to the connection to the road. How it feels like you are on top of corners. Because you don't have that long hood in front of you, you are on top of the corners while all the weight is sitting in back right on top of those rear tires, giving it an insane level of traction. Now the C8 Corvette, a lot of people were kind of upset and didn't fully understand when the C7 ZR1, the top tier C7, the most insane Corvette ever built. The C8 base, the C8 Stingray, the one that we were looking at today, accelerates faster to 60 miles an hour than the C7 ZR1. How, may you ask? Because of that engine being on the back. It all comes down to weight distribution. You have that entire 6.2 liter V8, the LT2, sitting right on top of the rear axle, giving it instant traction, basically. This has more traction than any Corvette ever built because it has the greatest weight distribution ever built. Now, Corvettes have always been known for 50-50 weight distribution, which is tremendous in a front engine vehicle. However, we have changed that up a bit with the C8 here, moving the majority of the weight to the back, which makes it a supercar-like feeling. And the C8 honestly is in supercar territory. The numbers that it puts out are tremendous, and nobody understands how in the world this car is $100,000 or less. This is the most decked out C8 you can get. We have the 3LT that we're looking at here with the performance package, 70th anniversary edition. Beautiful, beautiful spec. White on white with red accents. It's a really good looking spec. I do like this car a lot, but nobody understands just how quick the C8 is for the price that you are paying. It's unbelievable. Corvettes have always been known for the best bang for your buck, but the C8 knocked it out of the park. The C8 is in the higher end territory of Ferraris, Lamborghinis. It's tremendous. So point number one that I need to get across, the reason that the C8 is better than any other generation of Corvette, and there's no arguing it, there honestly is not. It has the best feel behind the wheel. You are the closest to the front axle, you have the greatest sitting position, you have the best visibility, and you have the most high-end materials out of any other generation of Corvette. There is no questioning the fact that the C8 has the best overall driving experience than any of the other generations of Corvette. Now let's get into reason number two why the C8 Corvette is the greatest generation of Corvette. We're going to go ahead and start that off by saying its design. Now this one might be a little bit controversial, and I agree. I think the other generations of Corvette are amazing looking, but the overall design of the C8 took it into a whole nother price point, a whole nother level. The previous generation Corvettes all did look fantastic, but the C8 is mistakable for a Lamborghini or a Ferrari. It honestly is. Just the mid-engine design, the large back portion with the small front portion, and the overall body lines, the large intakes up on the sides, gives it a supercar-like presence, and it looks fantastic. Now, yes, a lot of people argue that the taillights do remind them of a Camaro. They don't like the quad exhaust tips. They fixed those with the Z06, where we have the four coming out of the center again, like in many, many other previous Corvette generations. Yes, I will agree. There are some times where the taillights look a little off. There is some times where the back end looks a little bit long, but there's reasons for that, because even though this is a supercar now, it has practicality. They stretch the back end out because you can still fit a full set of golf clubs back here, even with a hardtop convertible. No, I'm kidding. You lose that with the hardtop convertible. But with the base C8, the trunk is insanely big. Even here with the hardtop, it's not small. But it's definitely on the smaller side, we'll say. But you do still have a very, very large set of storage basically up in the front, which makes it incredibly practical. So reason number two that it is the greatest generation of Corvette is the overall design. Reason number three it is the greatest Corvette of all time is the engine. Now, this is the base, which is the updated 6.2 liter, the LT2. The LT1 was in the previous generation Corvette, so this is the updated version with the performance exhaust, puts out 495 horsepower, which approaching 500 horsepower at a car that started at $59,000 is tremendous. It is insane. That's a ton of power in a car in that price point with the overall driving experience that the Corvette gives you. However, I'm not talking about this engine. I'm talking about the engine that you're going to be finding in the Z06 Corvette, which is the 5.5 liter flat plane crank LT6. That is one of the most unbelievable motors of all time. Chevrolet purchased a Ferrari 458, disassembled every single part of it. They used that to ultimately make the design and help develop the C8 Corvette, because it's known as one of the greatest driving Ferraris of all time. While doing that, they also did the same thing with the motor. And they learned a lot from Ferrari while developing the LT6, which revs incredibly high. It's an amazing flat plane crank engine. It sounds fantastic. And it is one of the most unique motors that Chevrolet has ever produced. They moved away from the small block pushrod V8, which is amazing. I absolutely love them. They are just incredible, absolute torque monsters, modifiable as can be. I love every part of them. But the 5.5 liter flat plane crank sounds tremendous. It brings a new type of feeling to the Corvette, a supercar-like feeling. One of the other things about the C8 that is super cool that nobody would probably guess is how easy it is to drive. For being pretty much supercar territory, this vehicle is so easy to drive. It doesn't scare you one bit. The visibility is honestly probably the best out of any other generation of Corvette. The blind spots are not bad at all. Its transmission is an absolute riot. This dual clutch snaps off shifts like absolutely nothing else. Check out how quick this thing shifts. First, second,
third, fourth, fifth, sixth. And we'll go back down. Sixth, 5, 4, 3, 2. It is unbelievable how quick this dual clutch transmission shifts, and it feels so driver oriented, and it feels like you are connected to the car even without having a manual transmission. You feel so connected to the road just because of the feeling that that dual clutch gives you. How quick it responds is tremendous. It is so good.
Here's the issue with the C8. I just listed all 3 things that I think make it better than any other Corvette generation. That was all 3. I don't think that there's many other things that I can point on. Now, the C8, yes, it has an amazing driving experience. Yes, the motor is fantastic. The overall powertrain, the dual clutch transmission is phenomenal. It's the best automatic that's ever been in a Corvette ever. Sorry, I can't say automatic. Dual clutch. It is the best dual clutch that has ever been in a Corvette. It is the only dual clutch that's ever been in a Corvette, and it's amazing. It's tremendous. It snaps off shifts like nothing else. It gives you amazing feel behind the wheel because you feel connected to the road even though you don't have a clutch pedal. Yes, it's probably going to be the best looking Corvette ever built. Who knows what the C9 will look like? Most likely it'll be electric, so I can't say it's going to be better. We already have a hint of electrification with the E-Ray that just came out, which features this same motor that is in the Stingray here, but it features the Z06's wide body and electrified front axle, making it all-wheel drive. So who knows what the C9 is going to bring? There's a very good chance it's going to be electric, unfortunately, but let's hope not. So it's good. The C8's really good. It's a lot of fun to drive. It's an amazing canyon cruiser. It's an amazing weekend car that you can take out with the wife. But it does not have the same feeling that you have in the previous generations of Corvette. The previous generations of Corvette you don't want to take out with your wife. You want to take out with your friends, the guys. You want to beat the living crap out of that clutch pedal, dropping it, burnouts, 6-speed manual transmission. Transmission in the back, amazing weight distribution, 50-50 split, V8 up front, transmission in back, loud as can be, just America. The previous generations of Corvette have a soul that the C8 does not have. The C8 is an amazing car. Don't get me wrong. It handles, it drives amazing, but it lacks and loses some of the soul when it got better. It does not have the same driving experience. It does not make me smile as big as cramming gears in an old LS6, an LS7, the LT4. It does not give me the same feeling that those cars gave me when cramming gears in them. It just doesn't. Yes, it is amazing. Like I said, I'm not dismissing the C8. It's great. I love everything about it. If I were older, if this was just my weekend car, if I lived out in the mountains, I would own a C8. I would own a Ferrari. I'd own a Lamborghini. I really would. But cruising around town, stoplight to stoplight, I can guarantee you I know which one's going to make me smile more. That's the previous generations of Corvette. So thank you guys so much for tuning into the video today here at Apple Autos. Once again, this is an amazing vehicle. Do not dismiss that in the absolute slightest. And if you're interested in purchasing it, be sure to check out the link down in the description below. Now, thank you guys so much for tuning into the Apple Autos YouTube channel. We look forward to seeing you next time.